organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Here's what's just ahead tonight on Daily Iowan TV. We have breaking news in the case of the missing ISU student. We've got the latest next.
In Women from the War, find out why women veterans were recognized in Iowa City today.
And in sports,
an update on how field hockey, soccer, and volleyball performed over the weekend.
All that and more is coming your way.
You're watching Daily Iowan TV.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Tanner Sigworth.
And I'm Mary Caldwell.
We begin tonight with breaking news. Iowa City police have positively identified the body found in Iowa City late Friday night as 20-year-old Tong Xiao.
Xiao's body was found in the trunk of a 1997 Toyota Camry with Kentucky license plates. That car was found off Highway 6 in the Dolphin Lake Point District. Police
officials have named 23-year-old Xiang-On Li as the main person of interest in Tong Xiao's death. According to the student directory, Li is a student here at the University College of Business. However, authorities believe he may have headed back to China.
Xiao was last seen on September 6th. Police say she was in Iowa City visiting a friend. Follow us on Twitter at DITV for news on the latest updates on the story. One student organization at the University of Iowa is going out of its way today to end depression. The UI's chapter of Young Altruistic Professionals of America, or YAPA, has been placing carnations all over campus. Attached to each individual carnation is information about what depression is, symptoms of depression, and contact information for UI counseling services. If you or anyone you know would like more information about the Counseling Center and their services, please call 319-335-7294.
Today, the University of Iowa hosted the 5th annual Iowa Statewide Veterans Conference. The theme of this year's conference was Women of the Military. They focused on the dynamic impact women have on the military and how the military impacts them. Major Sarah Lee Sickles spoke with us about the differences women face when serving.
When a woman is in civilian clothes, you don't have any idea that she's in the military. When a man is in civilian clothes, you can look at his haircut and you can tell he's in the military. But nobody knows or understands the same things are for women as they are for men.
This is the 4th year the university has hosted the event with help from the Center of Diversity Enrichment and the Equal Opportunity offices.
2 alumni have donated $1 million to the University of Iowa Foundation. Robert and Sue Latham from Cedar Rapids donated the gift with hope it would attract more undergraduate students toward the sciences.
69 vendors, 328 beers, and 17 sodas. Put that all together and what do you get? We sent Daily Iowan TV's Nick Fisher to find out.
Thousands of thirsty people flocked to the north side neighborhood of Iowa City Saturday afternoon to get their fix of beers from across the country. The Northside Oktoberfest, in its 4th year of existence, featured 328 different beers from 69 vendors. Oktoberfest was created to help showcase the tradition of the Northside neighborhood while also making the 19th annual Iowa City Brewfest more family-friendly.
In the 19 years, we've raised over $200,000 for local children's charities and the American Heart Association. So we're really proud of the job that we do, and it's a beautiful day to have an Oktoberfest.
Albert Haskey said last year's event raised $20,000 in less than ideal weather conditions, and that this year expect the charitable donations to the American Heart Association and the Iowa Children's Museum to be even greater.
The event also featured a large television screen that allowed for event goers to view the Iowa football game.
But for those children who were in attendance, a little something different was offered.
Brewfest is always family friendly, but having kids myself, I really wanted to have something for the kids. So we started, when we moved down to the north side 4 years ago, we actually did Soda Fest for the first time.
Soda Fest offered non-alcoholic drinks and carnival games to those younger event goers. But no matter young or old, Oktoberfest was a hit amongst everyone.
Honestly, if you don't try it out, you're missing out because I've had a blast and so have all of we. So really, you guys need to come out here for Oktoberfest. It's a great time.
Reporting from Northside Iowa City, Nick Fisher, Daily Iowan TV.
Oktoberfest was celebrated around the world over the weekend. And still to come on Daily Iowan TV, football season is in full swing. Find out how this all-American sport is taking over the internet next.
And in sports, find out how one soccer goalie is showing great success on the field.
Well, Mary, I don't know about you, but I wasn't expecting to see this warm of weather this late into September.
I know, I thought it was going to be at least 10 degrees cooler by now.
Well, let's toss it over to Katie Sextro in the weather studio to see what it's going to be like for the rest of the week. Katie?
The warm weather we've been seeing will stick around for a few more days. Tomorrow morning, as you're headed to class, it'll be a bit chilly with temps in the low 50s. As the day goes on, it will warm up to the mid-60s and we'll see partly cloudy skies. As evening approaches, temps will stay in the 60s. The rest of the week looks fairly warm but rainy. Wednesday and Thursday will be in the mid to upper 70s with a good chance of rain both days. The evenings will be fairly comfortable with temps in the upper 50s and lower 60s. On Friday, it will start to cool off with temps in the low 60s and we'll see partly cloudy skies. As we start off the weekend, we'll see clouds and low 60s on Saturday. On Sunday, temps will get to about 70 and it will be a bit cloudy throughout the day. There's a look at your forecast. Tanner and Mary, back to you at the desk.
Welcome back to Daily Iowan TV. The University of Iowa Mobile Museum is visiting the College of Dentistry tomorrow. Starting at 11:30, you can learn about the history of Iowa's Ice Age giants, the founding of Iowa's Constitution, and learn about the current research project going on at the UI. The event will end at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon.
Draft your team, manage your players, compete with friends. Austin Love has a story how fantasy football increases excitement among football fans.
Fantasy football. Its popularity is undeniable. From the Manning Brothers football fantasy on DirecTV to a comedy show on FX. Through constant trades and competition, it creates fun rivalries amongst friends.
I know for me, I play with a bunch of friends from back home who I don't get to see too often, and playing fantasy football with them kind of connects you with them and starts a little rivalry for each week.
With most people being invested in only one team, Bears fan Jen Debix says she is now more aware of the NFL as a whole.
I probably wouldn't care much about other teams or other players if I wasn't doing fantasy football.
With a smartphone app, owners can constantly update their roster. You can even see how you compare to your opponent using the point system.
There's different scoring for each position. Like for running back, we score a touchdown, they get points per yard, per carry. Wide receivers, they catch the ball, they get a point. Stuff like that. Quarterback goes touchdown, they get points.
A system that requires strategy each week by the owners.
I try to pick up the best defense available that week. Defense I try to change off each time, but other than that I keep the set players and keep that intact. But defense is a big change up because you can get a lot of points with that.
And despite negative press surrounding the NFL with recent violence charges of Ray Rice and Adrian Peterson, fantasy football fans say it hasn't affected their fall Sundays.
It hasn't changed much for me. I still love watching football. I'm not going to stop watching football. It's something I do every Sunday.
Austin Love, Daily Iowan TV.
LaShawn McCoy, Jamal Charles, and Matt Forte have been the top fantasy picks so far of the 2014 season.
So Tanner, do you have a fantasy football team?
Actually, Mary, I do. Turns out the silky smooth Sigworths managed to hang on last night for the win despite DeMarco Murray's best efforts.
Well, now we'll toss it over to our Daily Iowan TV sports studio for an update on everything going on Iowa athletics. Guys?
Thanks, guys, and not to brag, but Team Mackey is 3-0. For Daily Iowan TV Sports, I'm Zach Mackey.
And I'm Whitney Blakemore. Our Whip Around crew will fill us in on how Iowa soccer, field hockey, and volleyball did over the weekend. But first, we start things off with Big Ten teams in the AP Top 25 poll. The Iowa Hawkeyes moved on to 4-1 on the season, but it wasn't enough to receive any votes for the AP Top 25 honors. Iowa chose a good weekend for a bye week as 6 AP Top 25 matchups will take place this weekend, including 4 Big Ten teams.
Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Ohio State all moving up in rankings. While Michigan State drops a spot, the Spartans now down at the 10th spot, despite a 56-14 win over Wyoming. The Badgers move up to number 17 from the 19th spot. They beat out South Florida 27-10.
And 5-0 Nebraska team is now ranked 19th, 2 spots higher than last week. They defeated Big Ten foe Illinois by a whopping 45-14. The Buckeyes also up 2 spots to a number 20 after a 50-28 win over the Cincinnati Bearcats. Michigan State and Nebraska will face off this weekend.
And while the Iowa football team was at Purdue over the weekend, several Iowa teams in action at home. For more on how those teams performed, we'll now toss it over to our Whip Around crew. Take it away, guys.
Welcome to our Monday evening whip around. I'm Taylor Brooks here at Carver Hawkeye Arena, where the Iowa women's volleyball team had a weekend of home openers and the 4th largest crowd in program history. Bon Szymanski and his team hosted 8th-ranked Nebraska. Unfortunately, the team lost in 3 sets as the Huskers had a high hitting percentage. The ladies take on Penn State and Ohio State this coming weekend to prove that they can play as a team. Now I'll send it over to Taylor Bartz, where she has everything on field hockey.
Thanks, Taylor. I'm here at Grant Field, where the Hawkeyes just wrapped up a pretty big weekend here in Iowa City. The Hawks took down number 17 Indiana by a score of 4-1, with junior Natalie Cafone and sophomore Stephanie Norlander each scoring 2. On Sunday, the girls defeated Missouri State by a score of 7-0, with Norlander putting up a hat trick in the first half. The girls are looking to keep their momentum going into this Friday's game as the now 7-2 Hawkeyes take on Ball State. Now I'm going to toss it over to Austin Luce for Everything Soccer. Austin?
Thanks, Taylor. I'm out here at the Iowa Soccer Complex, where the Iowa women's soccer team is looking to bounce back after 2 losses to 2 new Big Ten foes in Maryland and Rutgers. The team lost 2 matches by scores of 1-0 as they struggled to find much offense in either match. They will return to action on Thursday, October 2nd, where they will travel to East Lansing, Michigan to take on the Michigan State Spartans, and return to Ann Arbor, Michigan on the 5th to take on the Wolverines. That's all we have for this week's Whip Around. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks for that, guys.
And while the Iowa soccer team may have not found success over the weekend and still struggle to put points on the board, they are excelling defensively with junior Hannah Clark as their anchor. Clark, the goalie, had to fight her way back to the starting lineup this season. Daily Iowan TV sports reporter Austin Luce has the story. Austin?
The Iowa soccer team may have dropped their last 2 games in dramatic 1-goal fashion, but it was not due to a lack of strong defense, especially by one player in particular, goalkeeper Hannah Clark. Clark has continued to impress as she worked her way back into a starting role for the 8-3 Hawkeyes. Clark boasted 4 straight shutouts and over 360 minutes of scoreless action in her first 4 starts, dating back to September 7th.
It comes from practice, comes from your teammates pushing you and just working hard. The other goalies pushing each other to be better.
Clark helped the Hawks earn victories over Colorado State, Illinois, Northwestern, and Minnesota, as she was named the Big Ten's Defensive Player of the Week, an honor that she had previously received.
It's a good honor. Really, the defense really helps. We get it.
Clark's hard work and determination have paid off tremendously as Coach Dave Diani took note as Clark earned back her starting role.
Our 3 goalkeepers are very competitive right now, and Kylie and Tina, I think, have pushed Hannah to another level. I think Hannah will probably tell you, maybe didn't come in as to the place where she needed to be mentally and physically, and in the nature of college, you hope in a program you have other people step up. But we're really proud of what Hannah's done and how she's faced some adversity and not playing and not getting down in the dumps and training a little harder. And now it's her turn.
Having 2 other very talented goalies right behind her on the depth chart has pushed Clark to where she needs to be and helped the Hawkeyes continue to improve as a whole. Austin Luce, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
Clark started all 23 matches in the 2013 season as a sophomore.
And that will do it for us here in the sports studio. In tomorrow's program, we'll be bringing to you a look inside the Iowa dance team and the competitiveness that goes into each week.
Mary, Tanner, back to you at the desk.
Thanks for that, guys. Before we leave you tonight, turmoil continues at the White House after it was released earlier this month that a man jumped the security fence. But the intruder, Omar Gonzalez, made it far deeper into the estate than they initially thought.
Gonzalez overpowered a Secret Service agent after jumping the fence by the North Portico entrance. He was later tackled after entering the green room. A hearing will take place on Tuesday to deal with this issue. That's your latest edition of Daily Iowan TV.
Be sure to check us out again tomorrow.
Or anytime on dailyiowan.com.
I'm Tanner Sigworth.
And I'm Mary Caldwell.
Thanks for joining us and have a great night.